Hello everyone, welcome to my kitchen. My name is Michael. Today we're going to be making a chocolate cobbler. This is absolutely delicious. It's going to be one of those nice chocolate desserts that's going to come together really quickly. And if you're pressed for time, you're going to love this one because it's absolutely delicious and you can make it in such a short period of time. So I've got my oven preheating to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, or that's 175 degrees Celsius. And I've got a 9x9 pan here, and I went on and put some butter in it. I put it on the bottom of the side, so go ahead and lightly grease your 9x9 pan, and we'll set that to the side. Now I've got a bowl here, and I'm going to put my dry ingredients in that, and we're going to start with our flour, and I've got 1 cup or 120 grams of all-purpose flour, and we'll add that in. I've got 2 teaspoons of baking powder, and we'll add that to our flour. I've got a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and I'll add that. I've got 3/4 of a cup of granulated sugar, or that's 150 grams. 2 tablespoons of unsweetened cocoa powder, or that's 15 grams. And 1 teaspoon of espresso powder coffee. This is going to add that extra richness that's going to bring out those extra notes of that chocolate. So 1 teaspoon of my espresso powder coffee. I'm just going to take a whisk and whisk all of those dry ingredients together to make sure they got all mixed together. Now I've got a 1/2 cup of half and half. If you've got regular milk, you can use that. I like the extra richness that the half and half is going to bring. That's 1/2 cup or 120 milliliters. I've got 1/3 of a cup of unsalted butter, or that's 75 grams, and we'll add that in like that. And I'm going to get my spatula here and get all of that butter out of there. We're not going to leave any of that behind. 1½ teaspoons of vanilla, and if you haven't seen my video on how to make my vanilla, I'll put that link in the description box below. It is really easy to make, and it is so much better than what you get in the store. 1½ teaspoons of vanilla. And I've got some cacao chips here. This is 62% cacao. And I'm just going to put a few of those in there just to add just a little bit more chocolate to that. So I'm going to put about half of these in there, just a couple of handfuls of that. So maybe a tablespoon of that. Now I'm going to take my spatula and we're going to mix everything together. I've got the bottom half of my cobbler ready now, and I just brought all of that together. We don't want to really over mix that together. Just bring it together till you don't see any of the dry ingredients anymore. Now we're going to bring our 9x9 pan back. And I'm going to take this and we're going to put this on the bottom of this. Now I'm going to take my spatula and just spread that out across the bottom. Evenly spread that out. This smells absolutely delicious. That chocolate is already coming through there. Now I've got the rest of my cacao chips here. I'm just going to go ahead and put those on the top of this and kind of spread these out evenly across the top just for a little bit more chocolate goodness to it. And that's roughly around 20 pieces of that. That's going to give it so much more flavor to it. Now let's get started on the topping. Now I've got 1/2 cup of granulated sugar, that's 100 grams. I've got 1/2 cup of packed brown sugar, or that's 110 grams. I've got 1/4 cup or 20 grams of my unsweetened cocoa powder. And we'll add that to the top. Now we're just going to mix that all together. And I'm going to use the back of this spoon just to make sure that I get all that sugar broken up, because when you pack that brown sugar in there, you might have some clumps in there. So definitely use something like this to break that up. All right, I've got that all incorporated now, and we're going to get our pan back over here. You see how fast and easy this is coming together? We're going to take our dry ingredients now, and I'm going to spread this evenly across the top. All right, I've got all of my dry sugars and things on the top now here, and we're just going to evenly spread this out. You do not want to stir this and combine this together. The oven is going to do the magic for you on that. So just take the back of the spoon and just spread everything out evenly across the top. So now I've got 1¼ cups of hot water. This is not boiling, it was just right up to it. So it's in between about 180 and 200 degrees. That's 300 milliliters. And what we're going to do now is we're just going to pour this across the top of it and just kind of wet all of those dry ingredients on the top. So just evenly spread that water out over the top. Now I've got one of my baking sheets here, and I'm going to go ahead and put my cobbler on the top of my baking sheet. I've got the racks in my oven. I'm going to put this on the middle rack right in the middle of the oven there. 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 175 degrees Celsius, and we're going to bake this for about 35 to 40 minutes. You'll be able to tell when this is done when you can look at the top of it, because it's going to form a nice crust on the top of it. So I'm going to show you what this looks like when it's done. I am back and my chocolate cobbler is done. I wanted to show you what that looks like now. We had some nice bubbling on the sides. We've got that nice crust on the top. I'm gonna let this cool down now for a little bit, and we're gonna come back and give this a taste test. Get that ice cream out. You're gonna wanna get a scoop of that for this one. I'll be right back. I am back, and my cobbler has cooled down just a little bit. It's still a little warm if I touch it on the sides here. So I've got me a little bit of ice cream. We're gonna put some of that on the top of mine. I'm gonna grab me a bowl over here, and we're gonna give this a taste test. I want you to hear this crust on the top of this. It's got a nice texture to it, nice and firm. We've got some of that bubbling on the sides. I'm going to dig into this side over here, and let's cut out a little bit of it. Look at that, how nice that layer is on the top. I'm going to grab some of that chocolate off the bottom there. I'm going to put some of that over the top of it as well. Got me some vanilla ice cream. Let's get me a scoop of that. Put that right on the top. Doesn't that look absolutely delicious? And I'm gonna put just a little bit more of that fudge on the top of that for that ice cream. There we go. This smells incredible. Let's give this a try. I know it's gonna be delicious. You're gonna want to try this one. Look how that nice cobbler is. We've got that chocolate layer on the bottom and that nice crust on the top. Let's give this a try. Oh my goodness. Absolutely delicious. I'm gonna grab me another spoon of that. This is a winner. It comes together so quick and easy. It's absolutely delicious. That chocolate's coming through there. You're gonna wanna try this one. If you like this content, maybe you might consider giving me a thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. And while you're at it, check out one of these other two videos over here on the side. You might find something else you like. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Leave me a comment. I want to hear how your chocolate cobbler turned out. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye now.